Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to be giving a review for Batman Gotham by Gaslight. And this is a graphic novel right here, as you can see. But of course I'll talk about like the book and short, like after I'm done with it. Well, this right here is like this is considered like a Elseworld tale. As far as like Elseworld stories go, like DC Comics, I think is the ones that had started these kind of like books where these kind of like comic stories, which take like DC like comic heroes and they take them out of their usual settings, say like Batman and Gotham City or Superman and Metropolis. They take them out of those settings and put them in like a alternate like reality or a timeline that doesn't really exist. So basically, this is dealing with like Batman, like in the early like 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. But the bulk of it really is about like kind of like Jack the Ripper. Now, this particular book I have too as well. It collects the first one, which was known as Gotham by Gaslight. Then you have like the second part of it, which is like a follow up. And they're kind of connected, but it's not. It doesn't really stick with the Jack the Ripper like plot line. But it's the second one is called Master of the Future. So it continues the events of what happened in Gotham by the Gaslight. But yeah, this is an Elseworld tour. This is actually like the first Elseworld tour the Elseworld story they had created. So I thought that was kind of interesting too as well. But it's about like an alternate like reality where like Bruce Wayne, like Batman himself, he's like he's in London when it first starts, but then he travels back to like Gotham City. But you have like this Jack the Ripper type killer, who was in Gotham City now. He's like killing, like cutting the woman's throats, I think, and stuff like that. Kind of similar to how Jack the Ripper did. So they actually think that Jack the Ripper is in Gotham City. So I kind of thought that was an intriguing story, and I always kind of had my eyes on wanting to read this, as well. So yeah, it's set like 100 years in the past, and of course, Batman wasn't, well, Bruce Wayne wasn't Batman at that time. Plus, he was always in Gotham City. He didn't go to London, as far as I know. So that's what kind of makes it like an alternate type reality. Plus, he's living in a time where Jack the Ripper existed too, as well. Like in the year like 18, I think what it was, 1889, right? 1888. So he still kind of exists in that time frame, but it's in Gotham City. So actually, it was like a Batman too. That's what makes it like an alternate reality, like it didn't really happen. But what makes it cool though, it kind of borrows elements from say like Batman Year One. It kind of borrows like elements from that to a certain extent. With like Bruce Wayne, like he witnessed his parents being murdered like in an alternate reality, which what was kind of cool and creepy about it. Instead of them leaving from like a theater. Now they could have left from a play. You don't get to see where they left from. You actually see them riding like in a horse carriage. Because remember, this is like 100 years in the past. They're in a horse carriage riding. This about to come up and shoot both of Bruce Wayne's parents, shoot him dead right there in his face, instead of them being like, actually in the city, they happen to be in a carriage this time with horses because there was no cars at that time. So I kind of thought that was interesting that they kind of taken all those elements of like the Batman, like, mythos and like switched them around. Plus another thing about it too, like he returns to like Gotham City too. And that's when like the murders began to happen, and they're very similar to Jack the Ripper, Plus Jack the Ripper was already in London, and he was already killing people in London. I think when Bruce Wayne went back to Gotham, but when he goes back to Gotham, you have these same kind of stylings of killings happening in Gotham City. So they think Jack the Ripper has came to Gotham City. Plus at the same time, Bruce Wayne becomes Batman for the first time too in Gotham City when his Jack the Ripper killer is around killing people. So at one point, like all like the citizens and stuff like that of Gotham City, they think that Bruce Wayne, well, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman himself is actually like the Jack the Ripper killer. Because they seem very similar. So they kind of think that he's actually, the killer, whatever. But another thing about it too, like it has like you have like the same characters, say like Gordon, he shows up, or like Alfred, all of them are here too as well. You have like a Joker type villains too as well, but it's not really the Joker. And another thing about like not all that, the bulk of that is from the Gotham of the Gaslight storyline. Like the second part, Master of the Future. Now this deals with like a crazed like madman, who threatens Gotham City with his airship. Now it was kind of like I didn't really enjoy that one too much. I thought it was okay, it wasn't really too great. And it doesn't really like follow like what was going on with the Jack the Ripper thing that they were doing. It just kind of like just goes on, but it's still connected to the Gotham by the Gaslight storyline. It's still connected to that because the events of that deals with like Bruce Wayne for some reason, like Batman himself for some reason like disappearing from Gotham City and nobody knows what happened to him. Just like in the Dark Knight Returns or the Dark Knight Rises, where he just like disappeared and I don't know what happened to Batman. He just left, you know. So that's kind of what happens like in the second story, Master of the Future. But then he does return when this guy shows up with his airship threatening Gotham City. He does return like to kind of, you know, help not fight this guy, you know, this new villain basically. Now I thought this was I thought like the artwork in it, I thought it was like okay. I didn't really like it too much, but like again, I'm not criticizing like y'all artists or whatever, you know, cause y'all still did a good job, you know. Now I thought the Master of the Future art, I mean, well they both had the same kind of similar art style, but I didn't really think it was too great. It was decent though. It looked good. It wasn't like the best I've seen, you know. But in I think I would give that's what really intrigued me about it. Kind of like touches on the Jack the Ripper, like serial killer, you know, like in Whitechapel back in like London, you know, in the early 1900s. It kind of touches on him a lot, and it even has like an introduction about him, like the From Hell letter that he supposedly wrote. You know, I think that's when he actually got his name, Jack the Ripper. You know, because a lot of people still think that was like a fake letter to the From Hell letter. Cause I know they even had a movie and a graphic novel based on that particular story. You know, but the book itself it opens with that, as you can see right here, From Hell. You know, like talking about Jack the Ripper, and he knew Batman and all that kind of stuff. So see, like I'm saying, knowing there wasn't no Batman really at that time. You know, so yeah. And this right here, again, was like the first like Elseworld story, you know, that they ever created, you know, what like, they take the heroes like DC Comics and put them like in an alternate reality, you know. So yeah, in the end, I think I would be giving Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I think I would give this probably a C. I think I'm gonna go with a C with it. You know, I didn't really think it was too good, but it was decent. Now the first story was kind of good. You know, Gotham, like the Gotham by Gaslight, particularly the first one, I thought that was kind of cool and interesting. But when it got to the Master of the Future, which is like the second part of it, you know, I thought that was like okay. Now this story debuted in 1989, I believe, February 1989. That's when it was created, you know. So that's how old it really is, you know. And I know I was doing like almost like the 100th anniversary of the Jack the Ripper killings too as well, you know. So yeah, in the end, I'm giving Batman Gotham by the Gaslight. I'm gonna give this a C. I thought it was okay, it was decent. And if you're like, I guess like interested in Jack the Ripper at that, it's probably worth a try, you know. All right, now I'll catch y'all later. Okay, here's my Batman Gotham by Gaslight graphic novel. Now it's really called A Tale of the Batman. As you can see at the top right there, it says A Tale of the Batman. Now this connects like both Gotham by Gaslight, and also has like the other story, which was like the follow up to it, known as Master of the Future. Now that was one I was kind of saying wasn't really too great, because it kind of like drifted away from what was going on like in the Gotham by Gaslight, but it was okay, you know. But kind of drifted away from that, but it still was connected to like the story, you know, like of Bruce Wayne, you know, everything like that. But yeah, this is it. Like another thing was kind of cool, I guess you could say unique about it, was it had this in like the From Hell letter that Jack the Ripper, well, somebody who was claiming to be Jack the Ripper wrote at the time, because a lot of people still believe that it was like a fake letter, you know, that it wasn't real. I know they had like a graphic novel based on that, then they did the actual film adaptation that Johnny Depp starred in, directed by I think the Hughes brothers, you know. I know they had that particular film too as well. But yeah, this is like the book, you know. And of course, like I said, this takes place like in an alternate like Gotham City, you know, with like hundreds of years ago back, and it's like it's an alternate like story, you know, but it's like considered the first Elseworld like tale, you know, that was ever created by DC Comics, basically, you know. 'Cause I know they had this kind of stuff like that thing, like in like Marvel comics and stuff like that, but they have like alternate like realities and stuff like that, you know. I think they've done this kind of thing before, you know. So yeah, this is my book for Batman Gotham by Gaslight, and as you can see, they have them on the back too as well, you know. A decent story, you know. It starts out pretty cool and interesting, you know, but I didn't really, on the whole, I thought it was just okay, you know. It wasn't too great, you know, but saying. Okay, alright.